Okay.
Great.
I'll call the meeting to order at 7:31 and do roll call. And this is the Transportation Committee meeting for Wednesday, November 2nd for the Studio City Neighborhood Council. And I'll do roll call. Barry Johnson, I am here. Mark Rubin.
Here.
Thank you. Joe Perry.
Here.
Randy Freed. Not yet. Abby Velasco is excused. And Scott Mandel.
Here.
Thank you. So we do have a quorum. We have 3 out of 5 for a quorum. And number 2, approval of September 7th, 2022 Transportation Committee meeting minutes. Are there any objections to the minutes for September 7th? Seeing or hearing none, they're deemed approved. Moving on to number 3, update by the committee chair. We did not have an October meeting. Therefore, we didn't have any October motions at the board meeting. So that is pretty much the update. I'll move on to number 4, public comments on non-agenda items within the committee's jurisdiction. Are there any public comments from members of the public? Please raise your hand or press *9. All right. Seeing or hearing none, I'll go number 5. We will have, since there were no public comments, we have no responses. Number 6, discussion and possible motion, community impact statement with respect to Council File 22-1128 regarding possible new bus-only traffic lanes and their possible effect on a community like Studio City. And I have a proposed motion that I'm going to read for everyone. Motion: the board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council, SCNC, opposes Council File 22-1128 unless the 100 new miles of bus-only lanes excludes Ventura Boulevard in Studio City, which cannot afford to lose 1 lane of traffic in each direction where Ventura Boulevard is already at its narrowest along the entirety of the 17.5 miles of Ventura Boulevard. This motion is also to be submitted as a community impact statement, CIS, to Council File 22-1128. Do I have a second?
Yes.
Thank you, Joe. And before I go to public comment, just a little background on this. Over a decade ago, LADOT was exploring various possibilities for bike lanes in Studio City. They did come up with several, but at that time, they agreed with us that Ventura Boulevard, we could not take 1 out of 2 traffic lanes away to be bicycles only, because 1 lane in each direction on Ventura Boulevard in Studio City would just be a traffic nightmare and ultimate gridlock. So they went other avenues to other streets, and basically closing off a lane to do this with the buses would do the same thing on Ventura in Studio City. So we just want to get noticed on this motion as chiming in on this. And I'll go to public comment now, and Lionel, go ahead.
Yes, good evening, Studio City Transportation Committee. For my public comment, I was listening to what you said about, I believe, bicycle infrastructure or safety. And I think the other day, I went bicycling from Studio City, Ventura, Lower Canyon to Encino, and all the way back again. And I do feel like maybe in the future, something that your council could consider is maybe doing like a road diet, or maybe sections of Ventura Boulevard could be a good candidate for protected bike lanes, parking protected bike lanes, in which the bike lane is next to the curb and the parked vehicles are act as a buffer between the bike lanes, rather than having on like traditionally on the between the parked vehicles and the moving cars. I think some parts of it will be good. I did bicycle, and I like Studio City and seeing those because of the trees. It provides shade. But yeah, and one last thing, very briefly, I hope that your neighborhood council would consider urging your council members, Paul Krikorin or Nithya Raman, or both, to maybe sponsor or push for Ciclavia event in the near future for the San Fernando Valley. I think Studio City will be a great place to have a Ciclavia, because it's a beautiful place. There's so many small businesses that would greatly benefit community business, to increase their business. That completes my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Lionel, and we'd love to have our second Ciclavia in Studio City. It's a great idea. Also, I should mention that when the bike lane was being explored on Ventura Boulevard, even putting it next to the curb with the parking out away, it still would narrow Ventura Boulevard to one lane in each direction, because Ventura in Studio City is narrower than it is west of the 405 freeway. So, but the solution that between LADOT and us at the time, over 10 years ago, was that the design of the bikeway along the river in Studio City on the south side would actually feed into our entire business district, where there are already existing ramps that really aren't in use. So they were looking at access to shops and stores on Ventura from the river without taking that lane away of traffic on Ventura. So go ahead, Kevin De Leon.
Yes. And again, what we want the criminal Brandon to apologize to our great friend, Mr. Cole. Yes, that's what happens when you take and you insult those that can help you. I understand you need his technical expertise, but he's not feeling good about it. But one thing I don't like is bike lanes. No. Who rides bikes? Homeless criminals ride bikes. And they steal them too. Yes, thank you, whoever that was. Yes, the mentally deficient, like yesterday, out of my neighbor's $4.4 million home, he comes out on a bicycle, riding around with his little helmet on and his little blinking light. And he got caught in a puddle and fell down. Just like Joe Biden. Yes, look at the picture on your screen. And what do you see? You see a moron on a bicycle with dangerous rocks all over the place. Why would you do that when you can take and have a car, a 4x4, going over those same boulders with the protection of an airbag, air conditioning and heating? Yes, and even as Scott has, a refrigerator and heater in the back for your beverages. Why would anybody want to bicycle and sweat as they bicycle to work and have to go and take a shower because they smell like a pile of shit? Yes, it's time for people to realize, put away the bicycles and get rid of those bicycle lanes so that businesses, nonprofits, and even the synagogues can do business once again, except on...
Thank you, Kevin De Leon. Any other public comments from anyone else? Star 9 or raise your hand. Go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, very quickly, we're seeing this in real time happening with the replacement of the water mains over here between Coldwater Canyon and Sunny Slope, where at least in this area, it was down to one lane for a while, and it wasn't rush hour, and there was quite a backup. So seeing DWP work on different sections of Ventura Boulevard over the past several months, you can see how the possibility of a bus-only traffic lane would really severely impact the east-west travel on Ventura Boulevard. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Very, very good point. We'll close public comment and go on to committee member comments. Any committee members wish to comment? Seeing no committee members raising their hands, we'll go on to a vote. And we'll just do a verbal vote. And I'll call the roll. Barry Johnson, I am yes. Mark Rubin?
Yes.
Joe Perry?
Yes.
Scott Mandel?
Yes.
Thank you. The motion passes unanimously. Moving on to item number 7, discussion and possible motion with respect to new no right turn on red signs on all 4 corners during certain hours at the Colfax Avenue and Moore Park Street intersection. This was brought to my attention by a stakeholder, and I went and scoped it out. The stakeholder told me it was 1 corner, and when I went there and looked, I realized it's all 4 corners, and it's no right turn in the morning from 7 to 9, and in the afternoon, I believe it's 1:30 p.m. to 4 p.m. And I'm guessing this is all, it has something to do with Walter Reed Middle School, just because that afternoon hours are 1:30 to 4, which doesn't really represent afternoon rush hour, but it does represent the time the school gets out based on whether they have a regular day or shortened day. So I'll go to, and I'm not saying we're necessarily going to do a motion on this, but right now we'll go to public comment. Kevin De Leon and anyone else that wishes to comment, please raise your hand or press *9. Go ahead, Kevin.
Yes, and again, apologize to Peter Cole. You fiend, you. Now, what do we have here? We have a ticket trap. Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin De Leon can explain further what this is.
Oh, thank you, everybody. Yeah, one of the things that we like to do on the city council is fuck everybody and take their money. So we make these difficult to read signs and we put them way up in the air. So people turn and then the police officers hide and then they can write these huge moving violations. And that's one of the ways that we pass our budget. And so what you're trying to do is trying to be fair, and I don't like that. And I'm not going to resign until you guys stop being fair. So, you know, this isn't right. I don't like this.
Thank you. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. What is this? It's a ticket trap. You heard it right out of the mouth of the redistricting fool. So again, let's get rid of it. And if anybody wants to turn on a red light, just say a prayer and take your fucking chance and turn. Just like Goat Puppet has been doing for 32 fucking years.
Thank you, Kevin De Leon. Moving on to Lionel.
Yes.
No.
Briefly, I also noticed that I forgot on Ventura Boulevard, between Laurel Canyon and I forgot Whitsett, but I think we should urge LADOT and the Bureau of Street Services to repave that section of Ventura Boulevard because it's very bumpy. I've driven there many times because when I go to shop, or if I had to do some things in Studio City, when I driven there, I drive very slowly, of course, but it's very bumpy. I think LADOT should repave that section. We should urge them in the near future, because it's very bumpy, it's very uneven, and I think it's been like that for years now, and something to consider.
Thank you. I'll try and contact CD4 and LADOT and try and get an answer before our next meeting as to when that section, and if that section's scheduled for repaving anytime soon. Any other public comments? Okay, seeing public comments are closed. We'll go to committee comments. Go ahead, Joe.
So on the 4 no right turn on red at Colfax and Moore Park, is this during dismissal periods?
It's when they arrive and when they're dismissed.
Because
Yes,
it is safer, you know, when kids are crossing and darting into the intersection, to probably have no right turn on red. But
and I'm guessing they did this because a kid crossed there on a walk and somebody made a right turn and either hit them or came close, perhaps.
that's okay. Okay, I'm gonna take that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. And what I'm thinking on this is I'm going to get in touch with LADOT and try and get the answer to this, rather than doing any kind of motion at this time, just so we know. The other ongoing problem in that area has been with drop-offs and pickups of students, but that has been on Irvine Avenue between Moore Park and Sarah Street. So I don't know that this is actually related. I think this is really more to do with kids that are actually walking to school. So I will effort an answer, just so if we get any more inquiries. Yeah, it could be a traffic ticket trap, but I'm guessing it's for the safety of kids walking to school, which actually is a remedy for the problem we have on Irvine. It's like, I want to say to all those parents that take their kids to school, let your kid walk to school, particularly at the middle school age. It's like, when I went to that school, it's like there was probably 25% of the drop-offs that are there now. And the bike, the place where you locked your bike on the school grounds was full of bikes. Now you're lucky if you see 10 in there. In fact, I don't even think they have the same huge enclosure. So yeah, hopefully this will encourage more kids to walk to school if it's safer. Go ahead, Joe.
Just one other thing, you know, I live near a school, 2 schools, so we have that, you know, crossing guards too may be necessary at some of those intersections. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if DOT, it's a different department, I'll bet, isn't it?
Right. And you notice they did put in like the special crosswalk at Irvine and Moore Park.
Yes, yes.
Where somebody was hit, I think, more than once there.
Right.
But I don't think I've seen a crossing guard anywhere around Walter Reed yet.
No. A neighbor of mine was a crossing guard, and she was hit by a car. The kids got across before the car hit her, but she has been disabled really since. That's another story, but it's dangerous even in a crosswalk with a light for around school.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Definitely, thank you. Anybody else with a comment on this? Okay, so I will get an answer for us before our next meeting, I don't see a motion being necessary, but just so we verify that it was done for student safety, such that if we get any more stakeholder inquiries, we can tell them why. Anyway, I'll move on to number 8, update on the progress of the remaining board passed preferential parking district applications and a possible new PPD in the neighborhood to the north of the Sportsman's Lodge complex. I don't have anything new to report on our remaining preferential parking districts that were passed at this time from Felix, but I do have the news that the neighborhood to the north of the Sportsman's Landing complex is now looking into preferential parking districts because unfortunately employees of Erewhon and other shops and attendees of the gym are now parking in their neighborhood as opposed to the parking lot. And part of the planning department conditions for building there was to mandatorily have parking available to employees at that new shopping center. So we're looking into that just on what Sportsman's wants to build there through our ad hoc committee on Sportsman's Lodge apartments. But on this front, we will support that neighborhood for preferential parking only because they're getting already, before the place enlarges tenfold, they're getting people parking in the neighborhood, which they have conditions that say they're supposed to have parking for all their employees and for all their customers. And not even all the stores are open yet. So I'll go to public comment on number 8. Go ahead, Kevin De Leon.
Oh, yes, thank you. I'm kidding. The post puppet is accepting a bribe, apparently. So, anyway, first of all, the Brandon Moreno needs to apologize to Peter Cole for that bullshit. And secondly, I received a text message that Brandon was referring to spades being spades. That's that kind of language that got Mr. De Leon in his little poo-poo. Yes. Now we get to the criminals over in Erewhon, in that shopping center with the inadequate parking and the inadequate docking facility. Why was that done?
Corruption.
Yes, that's correct, yes. And how do we fight corruption?
You call the FBI.
Yeah, that's one option, but the other option is to stop shopping at these fucking places until they correct their aberrant behavior. Erewhon is spelled backwards for asshole. I don't know if you know that, but that's how they got the name. See, it's a fake name, much like a lot of the fake meetings at the city council. So again, these people need to behave themselves and do the proper things, park their trucks where the fucking trucks belong, and do the right thing and stop blocking traffic on the Coldwater Canyon and loading and unloading shit in the middle of the street because parking enforcement won't give them a ticket.
Why not?
Well, because they're in the back fucking pocket of the developer. The most.
Thank you, Kevin De Leon. Any other public comments? Raise your hand or press *9. Seeing none or hearing none, we'll move to committee comment. Is there anybody with a comment on item number 8? Not seeing any, so we will monitor that situation, and if the neighborhood to the north of Sportsman's needs a motion, we will, I'm sure we'll have it on our agenda for consideration. Moving on to number 9, comments from committee members on subject matter within the committee's jurisdiction. Any committee members on number 9? Seeing none, we'll move on to go ahead, Joe.
Hi, I just thought that at some point we should visit as a committee the traffic implications of the proposed development there, at Sportsman's Lodge. So that's all I thought.
Okay.
That was very
And
important.
I think we will visit that soon. In the meantime, the ad hoc committee is submitting something to the planning department. Hopefully soon, the board will vote on it at the next board meeting. And it does include asking them to do a new traffic study because the last one was done during COVID. There probably definitely will be room for another motion supporting that. Go ahead.
Also, it's not just that project, it's the new project on the south side of Ventura across from Bed Bath & Beyond will bring more traffic. And if the sports center comes in on Whitsett, we are talking some really severe traffic issues in a very small area. So I think they need to be sort of holistically, looked at, and it's a big traffic change and a big traffic dump on this area. So I think it's important to look at. So thanks.
Yes, and there's also a proposal, nothing concrete yet, for the whole property from the bowling alley to Bed Bath & Beyond, and I think all the way to Whitsett. So that would also be huge, just across from the proposed cliff dwellers that I call it. Go ahead, Scott.
Thanks, Barry. Just want to let your committee know that later this month at the board meeting, the Department of Transportation is going to be presenting a survey and some information about their relation to the Ventura Cahuenga Boulevard Corridor specific plan. And as soon as I have more info, they can have a link for me to share. As soon as I have it, I will send it to everybody, including your committee. So that might be something you may want to attend.
Thanks. That'll be great.
I had one other thing.
Yeah.
Scott, maybe. I think, this is just sort of on this, but the impact is going to be, the implications of a lot of these things are so huge on residents and people that come here to shop or eat, that I would love the board to look into maybe using some funds, not just for outreach or events, but maybe to reach residents in some way. And, they don't know about all this stuff happening, even though you guys maybe post it on Facebook or something, they're not getting it. If there's a way to really get, I don't know if we have signs or something that say, did you know this might be coming? So that people have more, citizen engagement, because it's just, I don't think people know about any of these projects really. So it's not our fault, but it's just an idea. Thank you.
Thanks. I'll let Kevin De Leon speak one more time since that's the only other hand I see raised right now. Go ahead, Kevin.
Because of the Beasley monster, and also the corridor specific plan, and the car jacket, and of course goat puppets mentor Sarkin. Yes. Yes, I know you love her so much because you're so corrupt, but not me. I'm the bully bull. I'm the good part. We need to vote up call 213-473-004. That's the councilwoman who's now in charge of this shit. And maybe
All right, thank you so much. So moving on, my closing comments, just that I don't believe we will have a meeting in December. There's not going to be a board meeting, and as far as I can see so far on the calendar, there are only the other meetings are canceled as well. So if there's something we need to take up between now and January 4th, I'll be in touch, and we could have a meeting, but as of right now, I'm not planning one. So therefore, our next meeting would be Wednesday, January 4th at 7:30. That is that week in particular. Monday's New Year's Day. Tuesday is the actual legal holiday and Rose Parade and Rose Bowl. And then people are back to work on Tuesday, and our meeting would be Wednesday. So that's all I have. Thank you all for attending tonight and participating in 2022. And I will move to adjourn. Do I have a second? Second from Scott. Thank you, Scott. All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. All right, bye.